Expo should have had a subtitle of the YouTuber edition, because there were so many YouTubers there. It was unbelievable, and they were all at the front of the queue. So it was an early start on Saturday morning, and we made our way over.
You stopped for a stop sign?
No, right, I was like, Johnny, that's a stop sign. He started stopping.
He just
started stopping. When Johnny, that's a stop sign, started stopping, then just went.
And we made our way over, the three of us, and my cousin, who was sitting in for Roger, who unfortunately couldn't make it. He had other commitments.
Got there probably around about 9 o'clock with the intentions of getting there a bit early so that we could queue up.
There were plenty of people there. There were 22UK, Mark Horsburgh,
Peter Dickinson,
Chris Ashant, Woodlin,
Retro Dave Nintendo,
Sweet Gamer Raz,
the Sainted Magnus,
Cyber Snake J,
Monkey Spaz 5000,
Dallas Corns, Deloro,
Steve Gasshead,
Dave Webster,
the whole Retro Link crew.
and we ended up meeting a guy that actually knew more about retro gaming than anybody that was actually in the convention itself, and that was the guy that was serving us shit coffee.
There was one little stall with a little guy knocking about, and he didn't want to serve anybody. He said he started in like 10 minutes, every 10 minutes.
So we hung around. This guy, so blasé, it was unreal. He kind of went into his room, lifted up his shutter. A queue formed.
So I went up and asked for a latte, and he didn't do that. So he said he could make me a coffee with some milk in it if I wanted that, and so I did. A few others went up, and they asked for some food, and he didn't do that either.
Somebody, I can't remember who, said that he looked like a cat off Red Dwarf. I couldn't see it personally, and he wasn't serving fish.
When the doors opened and people went in, we got our bands and Danny ran off.
First thing I did when I got into the Expo is actually follow Jay Cybersnake and Retro Dave Nintendo, because I knew that they'd be going straight for the games, and I wanted to try and see if there was any deals there as well, because we ended up actually being one of the first people in there, so I thought I'll go for it. The first stall that we went to wasn't as good as I hoped actually, because it was massive in Manchester, but it was a bit smaller and the selection wasn't as good. But I did get a couple of Game Boy games from them actually, and it was a great deal. 2 Game Boy games for £5. I ended up picking Donkey Kong up, and I also ended up picking DuckTales up. Both games I wanted, so I'm very happy with that.
So we went into the actual Expo. Really nice setup. All the lights were turned off, so all the arcade cabinets were shining. Really nice looking place. Lots of cabinets there that was pretty much at the Manchester one, and I did see that the Gauntlet one was broken, so no one got to play it that weekend again.
I wanted to pick something up this year because last year I never did, and this year I thought, well, I want to take something away with me and have something to remember the Expo by. So I was looking through some of the NES titles, and I saw a Dream Master, but it wasn't in really good condition, and they wanted about eight quid for it. So Danny had spotted one on another stall, which was in perfect condition. I went and picked up that, along with Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest.
Shortly after getting into the Expo, Chris Ashant came up to me and gave me this lovely t-shirt, and it's one of his t-shirts from his Friday night shows. Him and Carl Woodland37 do, called the Two Fat Bastards Show, and he gave me this as a nice gift, which is lovely. Thank you very much.
The generosity of the people was brilliant, and we all got gifts. Chris Ashant bought me some Pokeball cufflinks in that sort of henna bead style. He really didn't have to do it. It was a thank you for last year. Totally not expecting it, and yeah, but thank you very much, Chris. Yeah, you're a legend.
When we were at the bar, there was a lad there, and I wasn't sure who he was, trying to give Chris a Shanksy game, and it was Shinobi on the 3DS. Chris wouldn't take it, I think he already had it. So Chris said, Danny will have it. So I said, I can't take it, mate. And it ended up being the Cardigan Gamer who has a channel, and he's a big fan of Carl and Chris and the Two Fat Bastards show. So I ended up with Shinobi on the 3DS, so thanks very much.
Sweet Gamer Raz give us a game, a Sega Saturn Japanese import game that we could play for our nostalgia nights, and he gave Roger a hat that he said he'd liked on one of his videos. So I love you.
the Retro Collect competition, I just thought they were actually in the centre stage, and I just thought it looked really well, really tidy. It was a lot better set up than Manchester. It looked like they had a lot more involvement there, and the games that they chose were brilliant. Pang, Sonic 3 Race, Sega Rally, Tetris and California Games on the Master System. And if you don't know, they actually do a great podcast, and it's well worth listening to. I just want to say thanks to Ian, Sega 8-Bit, for helping me around because I didn't know what I was doing, and yeah, he kind of held my hand and did me a favour there, so thanks very much, pal, and it was nice to meet you again.
There was a Sega Rally stand-up arcade, but that was slightly broken as well, but even so, I got on there and I got top score. Danny played on it, came second, as usual.
That is one of the most important things for me about these conventions. I absolutely love going into the arcade. There's no feeling like it. You know, you just feel like you're a kid again in those arcades, and playing these old school cabs. It just takes you right back. There's nothing better.
A fan of the show came up to us called Adam. It was really nice to have a chat with him. We were just talking about games and what he bought and what he picked up and stuff, and about the Expo, but it was really good, and I was really happy that he came up and said hello, so thank you very much for that, Adam.
I had a look around the vendors' stalls. There was nothing really that I was looking for. I had a good look to see if there was anything worth picking up, if it was a decent price, but again, it was Expo prices, so I didn't bother picking anything up.
After that, it was all about meeting the tubers for me then. I made my way over to the bar, found a place next to Gashead, and we just had a little bit of a chat.
It was great to meet some new faces, great to see the familiar faces as well. We managed to have a bit of a tournament on Mortal Kombat 2. I kicked a couple of people's asses, and then Jay Cybersnake kicked my ass. I wasn't too happy about it, but you know, that's the way it goes. He was better than me, gotta admit it. Also bumped into Shock 16, great having a catch up with him as well. You know, again, I'm going to forget names, but it was just fantastic just to see everybody that was there. I'm not going to mention Woodland because he's a
I got a phone call from Johnny, and he was a bit drunk, and he was saying, "Go on the look around. There's a Mario Kart tournament on. I want you to enter it." And I was like, "Oh, I'm not really bothered. I don't really want to do it." Blah blah blah. So I said to him, I said, "If we all enter it, I'll enter it, and we'll all have a go and see if we can do well in it."
I got picked up against this guy that apparently won it last year, so I thought, well, there's no chance. And there was no chance, I got battered. But AD did really well and managed to get to the final.
So I was put against a guy that is on YouTube, it's called Sega 8-Bit, and I whooped his ass 3-0. And then I got put against a guy that also beat his guy 3-0, so I was a little bit worried because I was watching him race and he was pretty good, but he capitulated under the pressure, and I hammered him as well. I think it was something like 5-1 in the end, and then I managed to get through to the final, and I was facing a guy that Danny got beat off. You could tell he was good, he was slightly older than me, he knew his stuff, he knew how to play the game, so I didn't do that good at the start, but I managed to bring it back, and it ended up being 7-4? 7-4? I think it was 7-4 in the end. But yeah, he got through to the final, and he went on to actually win the tournament again, so that's 100 quid for him in his pocket, so well done.
So I had a few beers and everything got a little bit hazy after that. I know I had a good time, but we went into town, and I thought everyone were going to join us, but unfortunately at that point then, the group sort of split up. Some stayed at the castle, some was in town. Us in town, we had some food, watched the football, and then we went to one bar mainly, but we did go to a few more afterwards. And it was just great to really have a chat about everything, really. I remember having a really good chat with Gashead about life in general, and having a good laugh with, you know, Carl and Chris Ashant. Danny were taking pictures of Chris Ashant's backside and stuff like that. So yeah, it was good fun, very jovial. It was really good to meet Monkey Spider 5000. He was one of the people I was looking forward to meeting the most, along with Gashead.
We were actually in the club, and everyone had a few beers, and we were all getting rowdy. We were all like, we had Steve and Jim, Monkey Spaz 5000, like taking loads of selfies and everything. It was a really good laugh. And all of a sudden, Johnny started getting a little bit dancey, like just you know, as you do, and got a bit of interest from a lady, and luckily. If my memory serves me right, I was filming at the time, and then it just sort of happened. So I thought I'll catch the footage. So yeah, Johnny pulled.
Everyone was a bit drunk. I wasn't very drunk. I had a couple of beers. And in the end, it got to a stage where I was a little bit, I don't know, a bit tired, a bit fed up. So I wanted to leave. So maybe I looked a bit angry, but I wasn't angry. I just wanted to get out of there.
Thanks for the hat, Raz. Still got your hair on it.